In honor of Women's History Month, we are highlighting inspiring local business owners. And one Valley restaurant, Aunt Chilada's, is steeped in both history and personality. It was built back in the 1890s from desert stone and railroad ties. The original building actually served as a supply depot and general store for the Mercury miners passing through the Dreamy Draw area. And here to tell us more are Aunt Chilada's two owners, Tiffany, Allison, and Michele Woods, who are also sisters. It is so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
I love your backstory on how the restaurant got started. Can you tell us more? I mean, railroad ties, that's incredible.
Well, basically we started as a trading post and then later became a Mexican,
Oh, there you go.
steakhouse.
This is our grandfather at the base of Squaw Peak.
Yes.
Wow.
So him and our Uncle Carmel would actually go there when it was a trading post before Arizona was a state.
Right.
So later it was called the Peak Steakhouse. And there was a plexiglass ceiling above the bar where the women would, you know, roll around in lingerie and they would see the peak at the peak. And it was kind of based off the peak of the mountain and the peak at the peak.
Okay.
And so later we became George's Olay. George Cockerham was captain of the fire department. So he had the firefighters in trade for beer build it out of the railroad ties, the stone, you know, from the base of the mountain and
That is
local surrounding areas.
incredible. And then how did you guys eventually become the owners? Dad had a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah. So our dad was part of the Point Resorts in the early 80s. It became Aunt Chilada. So he actually created the concept, developed it. We worked there. I mean, Tiffany's younger than me. She's the baby sister. But we all worked through high school. And Tiffany bust. We fired her a couple times. She was not a great
She's the
student.
wild child.
She definitely is.
Yeah.
But Tiffany and I became partners, gosh, it's been 10 years, but we have grown up in the business and it's just been so much fun because we have different roles. Like you said, we stay in each other's lane.
And that's
I like
that's
that term.
the secret. Yeah, you kind of like, you do you, you do you.
So a lot of people don't know. I mean, yes, we are a restaurant. We're also a really large venue for events. We do a lot of weddings, corporate functions, celebrations of life, salsa challenge, you name it. And so Michele and actually her daughter McKenna, they do full-time group sales. So they sell it, I execute it. And I do have a culinary background, but I'm not, and I'm front of house, mostly staff and execution.
Right, and I think your background is so interesting too because you actually, this was not kind of probably your vision when you were in school.
No.
And you actually were in France. Tell me about that before, you know, taking over the business.
Well, I moved to France in high school. High school locally didn't really work out that well for me.
Told you she was wild.
And so, but it did teach me fluent French.
Yeah.
And so after I graduated Michigan State, it was right after 9/11. And a lot of people, jobs just weren't going at that time. It was kind of like a mini pandemic. And so they were offering half price tuition at the Cordon Bleu in Paris for translation. And they only translate the first semester. But so I only had to translate, you know, the incoming students.
Right.
And then.
But what an opportunity. And then here you are doing Mexican.
That's right. Well, and we're 750 seat restaurants, so we can do up to 15 events a day.
That is incredible.
So it is fun. Like our parents always said, sell on difference. And so we try to create, Tiffany does these incredible cooking competitions for corporate groups, for showers, for weddings.
See, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, you've been around, obviously, for a long time, and just to adapt to the changes and everything, that has
You have
to be.
to keep changing.
Exactly.
Our dad is a master where, you know, the other thing is you reinvest in your business. Like we survived pandemic. A lot of people didn't. We're not just lucky. It's the way we were raised. We don't drive fancy cars. We don't have flashy bags. Like we put all the money back into our business and into our people, you know, and we pay, you know, people talk about minimum wage. We don't.
We pay a lot better
than that.
Well, that's how you keep good people.
100%.
Right?
And turnover in restaurants is typically really high. We just don't have it.
I mean, these days, well, anytime really, for a restaurant to last even 5 years, that's huge. And let alone, how many years are you going now?
Well, we have the first liquor license, so if you count all the generations of family that have owned it, but we've had it since '82. It's been Aunt Chilada's.
So, but we're 9 generations family owned, 4 different Arizona families, but it's our 3rd generation if you count our kids.
That is so wonderful.
So-
I wish you continued success.
Thank you.
You
Thank
can
you.
tell so much passion, so much heart, and obviously hard work.
We definitely live it.
We appreciate it.
live it.
Thank you so much. And it smells so amazing too.
Thank
I
you
wish
for
we had
having us
smell-o-vision.
Me too.
Crystal, you hungry?
Yeah, so if I have to keep swallowing during my weathercast. You know why? Like,
Yeah, you're
I'm just
salivating.
drooling
Yeah,
over all of that delicious food over there.